Right now, deep inside your brain, your prefrontal cortex is quietly overriding decisions you think you're making freely, and the neuroscientists who mapped this region admit they have no way to switch it off. It sits right behind your forehead, your control center. The part of you that plans ahead, resists temptation, decides who you become. Pause on that. It's the last part of your brain to finish building, and while it builds, it absorbs every rule you were ever forced to follow. You can't feel that wiring happening. It happened while you were too young to say no. And it's still running that same code today, inside choices you believe are entirely your own. Right now, in this exact second, it's steering you toward obedience dressed up as personal preference. Here's the part that should unsettle you. The prefrontal cortex only strengthens when you practice making decisions with no one checking your work. Picture it like a muscle that grows exactly once, the moment you're forced to choose without a hand guiding yours. Every time an adult made the call for you, graded your compliance, corrected your judgment before you finished forming it, that circuit went quiet instead of firing. Multiply that by thousands of hours in classrooms built to reward the right answer, not the reasoned one. The wiring that should have become independent judgment became something else. It became a reflex to wait, to ask, to defer. And that reflex was installed in the exact organ that was supposed to make you free. The neurologists who study this timeline will tell you plasticity fades hard after 25. The window for building autonomous judgment narrows and narrows, and once those pathways set, they don't easily unset. That's the part they'll say out loud. Here's the part they publish more quietly. The education systems that shaped this development weren't designed by accident during the years your brain needed autonomy the most. They were built during an era obsessed with efficiency, compliance, predictable output. Reward the correct answer, punish the deviation. A prefrontal cortex trained inside that structure doesn't fail to develop judgment. It develops something more useful to the system, obedience that feels like judgment from the inside. And here's where it gets counterintuitive. You were told the fix is discipline, more willpower, more grit worksheets, more habit trackers, more rules stacked on rules. That advice makes it worse. Habits and rigid discipline recruit the exact same compliance circuitry that got you here, following an external structure instead of building an internal one. Grit doesn't teach your prefrontal cortex to judge. It teaches it to obey a stricter master. That's why so many disciplined, rule-following people still feel like they're not the ones driving their own life. They optimize the wrong circuit. So what do high performers actually do? The rule nobody hands you in school. They manufacture judgment calls on purpose. Small decisions, real consequences, zero confirmation from anyone else. Not asking which restaurant is objectively best. Not Googling the correct morning routine. Choosing alone under real ambiguity and living with the outcome without checking if they were right. Every one of those unconfirmed choices fires the exact pathway that obedience training left dormant. It doesn't matter that you're past 25. Plasticity slows, it doesn't vanish. The circuit still responds to repetition. It just needs deliberate, uncomfortable reps instead of passive ones. This is why founders, elite athletes, people who make decisions under pressure for a living all report the same strange sensation early on. The discomfort of choosing wrong and not being rescued. That discomfort is the rewiring. It is the only thing that builds it. Tonight, pick one decision you'd normally outsource. Don't ask your partner. Don't check the reviews. Don't search for the right answer. Choose it alone, act on it, and sit with not knowing if you chose correctly. Do that once a day. Not big decisions, small, real ones with an actual outcome attached. That single unconfirmed choice, repeated daily, is the entire mechanism. It is quietly rebuilding the exact circuitry your schooling was never designed to strengthen. But your prefrontal cortex isn't the only region they shaped this way. There's an older, deeper structure in your brain, one they trained even earlier, before you could even question it. And what it does to you every time you consider disobeying is far harder to undo.